Good to have you back on CNBC. Obviously, it's no surprise that Pfizer, Moderna, the vaccine makers, are on the list. Moderna's been weak lately, so I want to get your take on that. But before the stock picks, can you answer a very basic question, two of them, that I think a lot of our viewers have? Is this COVID shot going to be an annual thing in your mind? And how much money do the companies make from each shot? I mean, they're free to us, but somebody's paying.
Brian, great to be here. Thanks for having me. Those are two difficult questions. The first, an annual shot. I've sort of given up trying to predict the pathway of the pandemic from multiple standpoints, and the boosters or an annual injection is probably one of them. It probably makes sense for another year, maybe two. I would be very surprised personally if we were sitting here in a couple years and we were still getting this annual shot, unless it maintained the strength or the severity that it's maintained for the better part of 2 years. And it seems like this Omicron variant is also dwindling in terms of how strong it is and what the health concerns are. So I'd be very surprised if we were more than 1 or 2 years out from not really talking about this much at all, hopefully. And then the second question, in terms of how much money these companies are making, I mean, they price these vaccines anywhere from $25 all the way up to about $65 or $70 per regimen. Pfizer shares its economics with BioNTech. Moderna is obviously on its own. We have a couple others, J&J and AstraZeneca. But it really depends on the manufacturer and also depends on the geography. The U.S. is paying the most as usual, and then it kind of goes from there.
So Moderna, I mean, what, 65, 75 bucks, whatever, multiplied by billions or hundreds of billions. I mean, if it keeps going, it's going to be a lot of revenue there. What about Novavax? There's a lot of optimism that Novavax, the Maryland company, will not only get its vaccine approved, Jared, but the vaccine may be more targeted, developed for Omicron or maybe other new variants after that. What's your take on NVAX?
Well, it's tough to understand beyond Omicron, where Novavax really sits or where anyone sits, given the fact that we don't know, if and when or where the next variant is coming from. Regarding the companies specifically, they've still yet to be approved in the U.S. They've gotten some go-ahead in some other international geographies. But, the issue for the company might be at this point that, so much of the U.S. has been vaccinated already. Omicron is obviously making its way through many people that have been vaccinated and boosted. So the real market opportunity for the company might be in these international regions where pricing is not as powerful. We'll see, but given the fact that Moderna and Pfizer have dominated so far, and BioNTech obviously have dominated these vaccine regimens in the U.S., it remains to be seen exactly where Novavax will fit.
What are 1 or 2 of your best picks heading into next year, Jared? Leave us with a little opportunity.
Well, I still like the CRO space. These are stocks that help out biopharma in terms of drug development and trials. So this would be IQVIA, IQV, ICON, ICLR, and even Catalent, which is a manufacturer, CTLT. I think these are all very well situated for what is probably going to be another big year in terms of biotech and pharma innovation, both in the public and the private realm. So I think those stocks are all set to perform pretty well. I'm taking a fresh look at medtech, just given the fact that the stocks have underperformed given the pandemic. So names like Stryker could come back if and when we return to normalization from a procedure volume standpoint. And then biotech, as you mentioned earlier in this segment, has been such an underperformer. We have not seen this sort of disparity between the XBI and the S&P in the history of the index. So I think there's some opportunity there too.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.